Best coffee. Online at papanicholas.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka. Weekday afternoons at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Like most Americans, I don't pay attention to what politicians do or the impact of their policy choices. I just listen to what they say. And so I'm remarkably impressed by the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, I remember back at the end of the Obama years, the first two terms of the Joe Obama administration, President Biden, then Vice President Biden, cured cancer. I remember when Kamala Harris was tapped to get to the root causes of outmigration from the Northern Triangle countries in Latin America, and she did. And we have challenges at the border, but there's certainly not a crisis, and the monitoring is sufficient. They're very vigilant. And now we have them turning their attention to the development of artificial intelligence. What's artificial intelligence, you ask?
It's AI.
Great question, and Kamala explains it.
AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's two letters. It means artificial intelligence. But ultimately what it is it's about machine learning. And so the machine is taught. And part of the issue here is what information is going into the machine that will then determine, and we can predict then, if we think about what information is going in, what then will be produced in terms of decisions and opinions that may be made through that process.
If that baffled you, that's because Kamala is a next-level thinker, so don't expect to understand and operate at the level that she's operating. But the two of them did get together to announce, thankfully, that they're going to make sure that AI, or artificial intelligence, as that's what those two letters stand for, you just heard, make sure it's done safely and there's no algorithmic discrimination. Kamala Harris and the big guy at the White House yesterday explaining, first the lead dog, Kamala.
All to help make sure that the benefits of AI are shared equitably and to address predictable threats, such as algorithmic discrimination, data privacy violations, and deepfakes. We named it the Blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights, after which President Biden and I had extensive engagement with the leading AI companies to help ensure the private sector commits to the principles in the blueprint.
It's wonderful. Again, AI stands for artificial intelligence. Joe Biden
two letters.
Was then allowed to chime in, and he explained, the reality of just one aspect of what they're covering in this Bill of Rights, the deep fakes that can occur.
It's already happening. AI devices are being used to deceive people. Deep fakes use AI-generated audio and video to smear reputations, spread fake news, and commit fraud. With AI, fraudsters can take 3-second, and you all know this, 3-second recording of your voice. I've watched one of me on a couple of times. I said, when the hell did I say that? But all kidding aside.
Yeah, no, because he's not joking. He never is. The country is fortunate to have such tech-savvy leadership, I say. What does Steve Moore say? Economist, Govzilla author. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, guys. And I am just so assured and reassured that we're in good shape, because I found that to be a very prescient description of machine learning. I'd never really understood it before. Now I get it. Thank you, Kamala.
There's these machines, and then they produce content. Yeah, and then they learn from the content they produce and produce more content and so on and so forth. So we need this Bill of Rights.
Now I get it, Dan. See, I didn't understand that before. Now, I got a kick out of the president and Kamala saying, we have to make sure that we don't have misinformation and fake news and all these things. I'm like, oh, does that mean we're finally going to get rid of the New York Times?
Hey.
Yeah, right. So what about this Bill of Rights, though? I mean, the federal government getting in to shepherd the development of AI per this executive order to make sure there's no discrimination, that AI is developed with equity in mind. That's the important thing.
So here's the thing. This is a really important little quick history lesson. So back in the, what was it, like early 90s when the internet was first invented by Al Gore. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Sure. So when the internet was really just a new thing, and I know you got a lot of young listeners who probably, you mean there was a time there wasn't an internet? Yeah, there was a time. Mm-hmm. And so the government, and I'll give Bill Clinton some credit here, the government made a really, really good, wise decision, which is very unusual for Washington. What we basically said is we're going to let this be the Wild West. We're going to make it tax-free, we're going to make the internet regulation-free, and we're going to make it lawsuit-free. And it's just going to be everybody go out there like a land rush and do what you can. And we saw the biggest explosion of technology with great, massive trillion-dollar companies like Google and Apple and Amazon and da-da-da. And it was an incredible success story. And America led the way in the internet. And we have, the 7 largest technology companies in the world are American companies, in large part because we didn't regulate it. We didn't put all these restrictions on it. We should not do that with AI. This is the next big thing. And what's going to happen with AI is so damn exciting. I mean, I was at a conference with one of the leading designers of some of this stuff. I mean, literally, people are going to be able to get up out of their wheelchairs and walk. People who, never were able to move their limbs through this incredible technology. We're going to see incredible advances that advance, human well-being. And let's just keep the government out of it. Do you think Kamala Harris should be the policeman of the artificial intelligence?
Yeah, but I mean, there's another aspect to this where people like my pastor feel that AI is going to destroy humanity, that eventually we are going to be replaced by robots. Like
in Terminator, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's already happening.
Well,
Our Secretary of State's a robot.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, but it's happening like White Castle. They've replaced all their fry cooks with robots programmed by AI, and you know what's going on? They're more accurate. Service is increasing as well as order accuracy.
Exactly. So here's another example. Everybody's talking about EVs, and I have my column this week about how the EV thing is really just a big bust. The car companies are losing so much money. That's what happens when you have the government leading investment. It always fails. But you have this situation now with that people are forgetting that the next big thing in cars is not necessarily electric vehicles. It is automated cars, and they're coming. In fact, in California, they're on the road already. And 90% of accidents on the roads are due to human error, not auto malfunctions. So you'll have much more safety. People will be able to, you'll be able to literally push a button. You can go anywhere you want. You don't have to have mass transit and trains and all this stuff. And that's just, our lives are going to improve so dramatically over the next 30 or 40 years. Now, look, I take your point, Amy. There are downsides to this. And it is true that you're going to have, it's going to be hard to determine what's reality and what's fake, because they can do amazing things. They can say, Don Proft say, we need more communism and socialism in this country.
Yeah, well, that's where you get the watermarks and the other features of this Bill of Rights to ensure that people like the president aren't buffaloed by this AI work product. Again, who would you want to shepherd this? Kamala Harris or Sam Altman and Elon Musk and those types of people that are just filthy, greedy business persons?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's really rich for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris talking about a new Bill of Rights. What's wrong with the old Bill of Rights that we have that they want to tear up and shred? What happened to First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, Third Amendment rights, Fourth Amendment rights? All of these things have been shred, and they have a lot of nerve to say, but we're going to have a new Bill of Rights for artificial intelligence. I think the Bill of Rights we have right now will solve a lot of these problems if we would just abide by those Bill of Rights.
Hey, you mentioned EVs. Interesting study out of the Texas Public Policy Foundation. The complete costs of fueling an electric vehicle for 10 years amount to $17.33 per equivalent gallon of gasoline.
Yeah.
So the the $1.21 cost per gallon equivalent that's cited by EV advocates excludes all the other costs. Of course it does, in terms of subsidies, utility ratepayers for energy investments, non-electric vehicle owners for mandate and environmental credit-driven higher vehicle costs, and so forth. But $17.33 per equivalent gallon of gasoline for the EVs, I mean, it's going to cost a little bit more to save the world.
Except you don't understand, though, that that $17 isn't going to be paid by the person, driving the car.
Well, it takes
it's
a
all
village.
Going to be paid by the government.
It takes a village. Takes a village to drive an EV.
Exactly. We're socializing all of these costs. And the whole thing is, there's kind of a good cartoon the other day we had in the hotline. It just showed, okay, here's what happens when you have a car that's, that's powered by gas. You have the car, and then you have the gas, you fill it with gas, and then you get emissions out of the tailpipe, right? Oh, no, we can't have emissions out of tailpipe. That's causing global warming. So instead what we're going to do is have the car, and it's not using gas, it's got a battery, but where did the battery come from? How do we charge that? Oh, yeah, emissions come out of the coal plant or the gas plant. So
that's so much better. That's so much. So much better. I did have. I wanted to tackle this with you as well because I'm pretty skeptical of antitrust laws, but I got to admit, in this case, I'm tempted. The National Association of Realtors just was found liable under antitrust laws to the tune of almost $2 billion for conspiring to fix the prices that real estate agents charge, the 5 to 6% commissions that real estate agents charge, and this turns out to be 2 to 3 times as high in other wealthy countries where self-serving industry arrangements don't exist. And then, of course, it inflates the price of homes. What's your take on that judgment in that case?
Well, I take a lot of pride in this decision because you can look this up. When I was at the Wall Street Journal editorial page, that was 15 years ago or so, and I was one of the first editorials I wrote, and took up the whole practical page, was called "The Realtor Racket," and this was one of the first major pieces calling attention to what this kind of price fixing that the realtor industry has created. And I'm with you. I don't normally like antitrust laws, but these folks have colluded together to stop competition and to force people to pay 6% realtor fees when they buy and sell a house, which is ridiculous. Those fees should be at most half that amount. And you can't. It's almost impossible. If you want to just buy or sell your home yourself, they don't restrict who can see it and things like that. So this is going to save billions and billions and billions of dollars to homeowners and to home buyers. It's a good thing. Let's have a little more competition. This is a true monopoly that the real estate industry has created, these realtors, and it's unfair, and it's driving up home costs. And so this is going to lead to more competition, and so I'm thrilled by this.
And now let me just play devil's advocate, represent the realtors here. They will say, look, we can't tell people, our competitors what our commissions are. This is the way to wall off any sort of collusion when it comes to pricing. So it is a competitive model. Realtors can negotiate splits between themselves. They can negotiate lower commissions with homeowners. And so it is competitive. It is not collusive.
It's semi. I mean, there's some truth to what you're saying, Dan, and it is semi-competitive. And the stronger argument that they make is, look, the National Realtors Association, they created something called the MLS, which is the multiple listing, and they've created that. And their point is, well, why should anybody just get access to it? We built it, and there's some truth to that. But I'll just tell you kind of a personal story that just explains a little bit about what a racket this is. So my wife was a realtor, Amy, and she was selling homes, but she let her real estate license expire. You have to be a, quote, realtor. You have to pass some tests, which is ridiculous, by the way. Why should you have to, pass some tests to sell a home or to buy a home? And so she found our house that we live in right now. She found it. We did all the work, blah, blah, blah. So she did all the work that the buyer's agent would do, And the agent who was selling the house says, no, I'm going to take the 6% commission. Normally what happens is they split that commission, 3% for the buyer agent, 3% for the seller. She said, no, I'm taking the whole 6%. And we said, screw you. We did all the work. You didn't do any of the work. And because of the way this kind of cartel works, we got screwed out of 3%.
Steve Moore. Okay.
You're not
Steve
friends
Moore.
with her anymore.
A final word on that. Yeah, the realtors are going to be coming out after Steve Moore. I can tell you that.
They're a powerful lobby.
They are a powerful lobby.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to get a lot of your listeners are going to be sending me hate mail.
No,
Well, you're used to it. Steve Moore, economist, Godzilla author. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Okay, and is it true that you're now for socialism and communism? Because I saw that on the internet.
Yeah. It's one of those deep fakes that Joe Biden was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago.